Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a deeply emotional piece of audio to really unpack the anatomy of domestic violence, and honestly, more importantly, we're looking at the absolute urgent need to break the silence that surrounds it. We'll be sticking closely to the narrative laid out in our source material, a really poignant track that breaks down the harsh reality of abuse, the hidden victims, and the path forward. It's heavy for sure, but it's an incredibly important topic to understand.
Okay, let's jump right in with this powerful opening line. She hides the bruises with a smile every day. It perfectly hooks our focus onto the often hidden, silent nature of abuse. We usually think of violence as something loud, right? Something visible. But this audio immediately forces us to confront the reality that abuse is so frequently masked. It's hidden behind closed doors and very often behind a forced smile. This one single sentence really sets the foundation for understanding how domestic violence operates in the shadows.
To truly grasp this issue, we have to start right where the source material starts. Section 1, the facade, the hidden reality of abuse. Now, what's really striking here is the stark contrast between the two sides. Look at the outward appearance on the left. The victim is assuring everyone that she's totally fine, using a smile as a literal shield. But then, look at the internal reality. It's an agonizing existence of pain that just won't go away. The text reveals that victims are suffering silently inside, often feeling too afraid and tragically too ashamed to even cry. The gap between these two realities, well, that's exactly where the trauma lives and breathes. And this brilliantly illustrates the trap of that very facade. Staying quiet, hiding behind that smile, it doesn't actually provide safety. It just prolongs the suffering. The source explicitly states that silence only keeps the hurt alive. It's a vital realization. A victim's survival truly depends on breaking that silence because, as the track beautifully puts it, everybody deserves to survive. Which brings us to the next layer of this tragic dynamic. Section 2, the collateral damage, the impact on children. The source points out something really crucial here. Children don't just passively witness abuse, they absorb it. They're the ones hearing the shouting late at night. They're living in this constant state of fear. The audio notes they grow up with psychological wounds they can't hide, carrying a profound fear deep down inside. These aren't just temporary frights either. These are deep psychological scars that stay with them for many, many years. The environment is quite literally shaping their development. So the bottom line is that living in fear is never right, especially for a child trapped in that environment. The text makes it undeniably clear that these lasting scars are born directly from an atmosphere of anger, hurt, and tears. The collateral damage of domestic violence just ripples out, fundamentally altering the lives of the youngest, most vulnerable people in the house. Now, to understand why people stay, we have to look at the mechanics of control. Section 3, the cycle of control, the false apology cycle. Just look at this juxtaposition. The source highlights a very common, very manipulative tactic. The abuser will routinely apologize, saying, "I'm sorry," after every single fight. It's a move designed entirely to reset the clock and create a false sense of hope. But the audio wisely counters this by reminding us of the actual reality of healing. A quick apology doesn't instantly mend a broken heart, right? It doesn't just erase the trauma. The abuser's words are a mechanism of control, completely detached from the painstaking reality of emotional healing. Which brings us to this foundational truth presented in our text. Love should not leave somebody in tears, nor should it fill a home with pain and fear. This simple but profound statement strips away all the confusion that's often tied up in abusive relationships, and it sets us up perfectly to examine how the source material completely redefines what a healthy relationship should actually look like. Let's pivot from the problem to the standard we should all be holding. Section 4, the true standard, redefining love and home. The audio gives us this beautiful, clear benchmark. A home is a place of peace, where love is strong and anger leaves. Just think about that for a second. Any environment filled with violence, manipulation, and fear completely violates this definition. A home is supposed to be a sanctuary. When domestic violence enters, the home is basically destroyed, even if the physical walls remain standing. And this draws a hard, undeniable line based directly on our source. True love is patient, kind, and offers safe, caring hands. It is absolutely, positively not the control of someone's life. It's not slapping, it's not cruel words, and it's certainly not making someone feel less human. The text demands that we stop confusing control and abuse with love. This quote really serves as a powerful anchor for this whole section. Hands are meant to help, not harm. It perfectly summarizes the core message that every single woman and man deserves this baseline of protection and calm. It's a universal human right, clearly articulated by the source material.
Finally, let's explore the solution. Section 5. Breaking the silence, the call to action.
The text literally hands us a roadmap as bystanders. First, we have to stop looking away when we see the signs. Ignorance is just no longer an excuse. Second, we must speak the truth. Third, we have to actively offer our help today. Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, but right now. And fourth, we are commanded to raise our voices and let the world see. It's a call for radical, immediate visibility against domestic violence.
What you should really take away from this is just how empowering your intervention can be. The source insists that one small step can change a life. Actually, more than that, it can bring somebody back to life. Think back to the beginning of this explainer, that victim suffering silently, too afraid to cry. Your voice, your willingness to not look away, that can literally be the lifeline that pulls them out of the dark.
Which brings us to the ultimate goal outlined in the track. We have a societal obligation here. We must stop the violence and the pain. We must ensure that no one lives in fear again. We have to declare firmly and publicly that domestic violence must never be tolerated. The source urges us to let love heal, let kindness guide us, and ultimately, to teach the world what people need to know about healthy, safe relationships.
So I want to leave you with this provocative final thought, directly inspired by our source material. We've deconstructed the facade, the impact on the kids, that whole cycle of false apologies, and the true standard of love. The roadmap is right there. So, if one small step can truly change a life, will you look away?